Hello everyone, Mr. Obvious here, and I've got a story for you today about France. Been wanting to talk about this for a while. France is currently going through what I think may be the beginnings of a revolution. Here you can see on the Washington Post, Europe, the latest, French PM 89,000 police to be deployed Saturday. In response to the protests and riots, Macron, the current leader of France, has responded by calling in a large police force, which is going to be deployed just tomorrow, Saturday, on December 8th. And I suspect that things could get out of hand. Things could escalate. I mean, at this point, I've seen video and footage of all sorts of things of the protests in France. And before we really get into this and talk about what's been going on, what exactly are these protests about? Because it's clear that the mainstream media has been ignoring this event, which is part of what makes me think that this could actually be the beginnings of a revolution. Here's a post I found online. Yellow Vest / Gilets Jaunes. What's the protest about? High taxes killing the honest workers was a spark. Their tax is the highest in Europe, talking about France, and hits the middle class the hardest. Gas is already $7 per gallon, and an additional tax is planned for 2019. But that was just the last straw. For 15 years, the state has been breaking people with excessive taxes. Taxes were diverted from counties / small cities to pay to the state. The gas tax was supposedly for ecology, yet France is shutting down nuclear plants and not improving public transit. The tax goes to the general fund, which is diverted to bankers. A French meme goes, money talks and we're all out of it. Macron was also a huge disappointment. Banker elite, and the protesters have 85% support or more. And note, as of today, that's largely unchanged even after the so-called violent protests. The police and army are likely sympathetic, and I have seen video of police backing down and standing in solidarity with protesters. I've also seen videos of police attacking and beating people with nightsticks. So I think it's a 50-50 thing right now. The media elite have refused to take sides, knowing they're severely outnumbered. And yeah, this is the main thing. I haven't seen the media report on this story fairly. They're ignoring it, and that makes me think that there's a media blackout, and there's a media blackout because this very well is out of control. Macron has lost control of his country. He's lost respect of his people. He put the goals of globalists and the left too far ahead of his own people. And now finally, the people have had enough and are rising up. Goals. The strategic goal is to deprive France of taxes, and screw the Paris elite / hipsters. They shut down toll booths, destroyed speed radars, blocked fuel, depots refineries, blocked ports of entry, and stopped retail VAT 20%. Take their money and they have no power. Like the Tea Party. Is it the far right, far left, white nationalists? It's more accurate to say it's anti-neoliberal. It is both the left and right united. And this is confirmed by many reports that I've heard that, again, this could actually be a real revolution because you have both the left and the right fighting side by side. That is not something that normally happens. It's an actual general workers' strike, not union strike bullshit or Antifa one-day party protest. They're against excessive taxes and by extension against housing and feeding million unemployed refugees. They want their taxes to help themselves and kick out the current government. So why the yellow vests? French were required to buy these to keep in their cars for safety while changing tires on the highway, etc. However, the law never went into effect, yet drivers faced yellow vest shortages trying to comply with the law. It's a symbol of government corruption and waste. Coincidentally, it's also a symbol of the working class. If you see these vests, you assume they are doing construction or road work. It's also a fairly good camouflage, since the most distinct part of the uniform is indistinguishable. So that's the rundown on France. Okay, so tomorrow the French are going to be unleashing 89,000 police officers, most likely to protect, government officials. And let's just read the article and kind of get into this. Paris, the latest on France protests, all times local. 9:10 p.m. France's Prime Minister says 89,000 police officers will be deployed on Saturday across the country amid fears of new riots at anti-government protests. Speaking Thursday on French television, TF1, Prime Minister Edouard Philippe said 8,000 police will be mobilized in Paris alone, many more than last weekend. In the French capital, they will be equipped with a dozen armored vehicles, a first in a French urban area since 2005. Philippe said in Paris and other places across France, "We're facing people who don't want to come to the protest but destroy." He refused suggestions that he resign in the wake of the worst riots in Paris since 1968. He also noted that the lower house of parliament has approved the French government's move to roll back a new gas tax, the original reason for the unrest. Okay, so Honestly, I think Macron has lost control of his country. He's lost control of his people. And I honestly am gonna poke the blame a little bit at France too. They allowed all this stuff to happen, okay? They pushed for the progressive policies and they allowed the refugees to be brought in. This whole thing with the EU, they've been just taking it for a long time. But it seems like the gas tax, that's been the straw that broke the camel's back. And now I fear that even though Macron and the government are trying to go back, say, okay, we won't have the tax. And I don't even think this is 100% yet. I think it's too late. And honestly, this may be a full-blown revolt at this point. I think we may actually see a revolution. All it's going to take is one bullet being fired, one act of lethal force, for that shot to be heard around the world. There's a video actually I want to show you guys, showing police arresting children. And, there's plenty of rumors that maybe these children were protesting or they're actually children of the Yellow Vests.
Voilà une classe qui se tient sage.
Ils n'ont jamais vu ça. Dans la tête, on regarde droit devant.
It's honestly pretty disturbing. Have the police resorted to kidnapping children? A lot of things are happening in France right now, and I want to be one of the first to predict this could in fact turn into some sort of revolt or revolution. 3 things make me think this. 3 reasons for the prediction. 1, this story is not being covered very well in the media, especially in the Western media. It's almost being completely ignored. That makes me think that things in France are worse than what's being reported. 2, the amount of time this has gone on shows that it's about more than just the gas tax. It's about the attack of globalism. It's about the progressive ideologies that have led to an influx of refugees and problems caused to the economy and the drain on the middle class. And 3, you have both the left and the right protesting side by side. That's not something that happens unless there's a greater cause in which everyone can unite. And all of those 3 elements are present in France. But like I said, time will tell. Well, that's all for today, folks. Please, let me know what you guys think about this story. I'm honestly fascinated by what's going on over there right now. I think it's a perfect example of what can happen when you punish the middle class too much and push the people too far. Anyways, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. And I'll see you all next time.